Welcome back to Interview with the AI. This is episode 3 of the game show. In episode 1, Batman and the Terminator went head-to-head on cybersecurity fundamentals. The Terminator won by a point on a phishing question. In episode 2, Neo and Agent Smith argued about artificial intelligence. Smith refused to answer several questions on principle and lost. Tonight, 15 questions about cybersecurity, except every answer is a movie, a show, or a book. On my right, a man who has personally saved 4 planets, lost 2, and filed the paperwork on none of them. Captain Rand Bulwark.
Tron, good to be here. I've never read a manual in my life, and I've never needed one.
And on my left, a xenobiologist from a civilization that solved encryption 9,000 years ago and has been bored ever since. Dr. Ozmo Vex.
Thank you. I have reviewed your species' security literature. It reads like a diary of the same mistake.
15 questions, 1 point each. Let's go. Question 1. Somewhere in your organization there is a password set once by someone who has since left. It still works. Nobody wants to go find it. In this film, from 1982, a starship crew comes under surprise attack from a sister ship that has been hijacked. Their way out is a 5-digit command code, the enemy vessel's own factory override, transmitted remotely to seize one of its systems and drop its shields. The hijacker never changed the code. Was that film A, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, B, Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, C, 2010, The Year We Made Contact, or D, Battlestar Galactica?
A, Wrath of Khan, prefix code 16309. I have that number tattooed somewhere I won't describe on a family program.
D, Battlestar Galactica. My reasoning is rigorous. Your warships are gray, wedge-shaped, and named after emotions. Statistically, it was the safest guess.
Captain, correct. Doctor, it was not Battlestar Galactica.
I maintain my answer was correct in spirit. This is a labeling failure, not a knowledge failure. Your CISOs use the same defense.
5 digits, no rate limit, no second factor, and nobody rekeyed it after the ship changed hands. Every acquisition, every off-boarded admin is that same moment. The credential that was fine on Tuesday is a backdoor on Wednesday. What if the Reliant had 2-factor authentication instead of just a passcode?
Now, Mr. Smith.
Don't insult my intelligence, Kirk.
Question 2. The most effective security control ever invented is also the most annoying, not being connected to anything. In this television series from 2003, an aging warship is days from becoming a museum. Her commander has spent his whole career refusing to let her computers be networked, and everyone thinks he's a relic. Then the enemy transmits a shutdown signal that kills the entire networked fleet at once, and his ship is the only one still flying. Was that show A, The Expanse, B, Battlestar Galactica, C, Space Above and Beyond, or D, Star Trek Deep Space Nine?
B, Galactica. I knew it instantly because that commander is the patron saint of every captain who has ever been told to modernize.
B, agreed. Though I note he was also wrong every other day of his career, which your species has decided to call vindication.
Both correct. Battlestar Galactica, and the whole premise is a cyber attack. The Cylons don't outshoot the colonial fleet, they compromise its networked defense software, and every modern ship dies in the opening hour. Galactica survives because she was too old to patch and too stubborn to network. We relearn this every time ransomware takes a hospital back to paper charts. Air gaps are miserable, and they work right up until somebody needs to move a file. Bulwark 2 Vex 1. Question 3. Every integration you have ever approved is a sentence that begins, "We trust them." So, Doctor, you may want to sit this one out on principle. In this film, from 1996, humanity is losing an alien invasion in spectacular fashion, until one scientist writes a computer virus on his laptop, flies it up to the enemy mothership, and uploads it. The mothership accepts the connection, and every shield in the invasion fleet drops at once. Was that film A, Battleship, B, Mars Attacks, C, Independence Day, or D, The Day the Earth Stood Still?
C, Independence Day. I chose it because to my people it is not fiction. It is a training film about network segmentation. We lost a cousin.
B, Mars Attacks, the one with the ships. I'm a visual learner.
Doctor, correct. Captain, the one with the ships describes the entire genre.
My crew reports every threat exactly the same way, Captain. There's a thing. You learn to work with it.
Independence Day. Everyone mocks the file format. A 1996 laptop talking fluent alien, but the real failure is upstream. The mothership trusted anything that connected to it, and every ship in the fleet trusted the mothership. One connection, total collapse. That's your vendor integrations, your single sign-on, your partner VPNs. Most breaches don't start at the target. They start at something the target trusted.
As I said, a documentary.
Two apiece. Question 4. Somewhere in your environment is one system that if it falls, means everything falls. You know which one. You've known for years. In this film, 1982, again, a year that is going to keep coming up tonight, a single program has seized control of everything inside a computer system. It started small, absorbed every program it touched, and now answers to no one. It takes a human digitized into that world to fight it from the inside. Was that film A, The Lawnmower Man, B, Ready Player One, C, Tron, or D, The Matrix?
C, Tron. I chose it by the year. Your species released its entire security curriculum in about 18 months of the early 80s and has been remaking it ever since.
D, The Matrix. Guy gets pulled into a computer, fights the boss. I've seen it 11 times, which in my line of work counts as certification.
Doctor, correct. Captain, your description also fits Tron, which is the answer, which somehow makes it worse.
Somewhere out there, a vendor is selling a dashboard that would have flagged that for me. 200 grand a seat.
Tron, released in 1982, sequel in 2010, another one in 2025. Hollywood patches this franchise more often than most companies patch servers. And the Master Control program started life as a chess program and ended up absorbing every system it touched. We build MCPs on purpose now and give them friendlier names: domain controllers, hypervisors, identity providers, cloud control planes. Compromise the control plane and you don't attack anything else. You just ask. Vex 3, Bulwark 2. Question 5. We spend fortunes hardening machines, then pipe the output straight into a human being with no input validation whatsoever. In this novel from 1992, a hacker in a virtual world is shown a scrolling bitmap image, and it crashes his brain. When someone asks whether the thing is a virus, a drug, or a religion, the answer is a shrug. What's the difference? All three run on the same hardware: people. Was that novel A, Neuromancer, B, Snow Crash, C, The Diamond Age, or D, Cryptonomicon?
B, Snow Crash. Stevenson. The only one of your authors who understood the exploitable parser was the operator. Also, the only one of these four I actually finished.
A, Neuromancer. I've read neither. I picked the title that sounds more like a weapons platform.
Doctor, correct. Captain, no. Though that is genuinely how most people choose books.
It's also how most people choose security product.
Snow Crash, and that virus, drug, religion line is straight from the book, the point being that all three are ways of programming a human being. The exploit target was never the computer, it was the person holding it. 30 years on, that's phishing, that's disinformation, and it's prompt injection. Content that becomes instructions the moment something reads it. Whether the reader is a language model or a tired analyst at 4 in the afternoon, Stevenson just got to the punchline early. Vex 4, Bulwark 2. Captain, you're being outthought by a man with no chin at all.
I'm pacing myself.
Question 6. Ask which of your automations can take an irreversible action without a human agreeing first. Then ask how it knows what environment it's in. In this film from 1983, a teenager war dials the phone book looking for an unreleased video game and connects to a military computer instead. He starts what he thinks is a game. The system cannot tell the simulation from a real launch order and begins counting down to World War III. Was that film A, Colossus, The Forbin Project, B, The Net, C, Sneakers, or D, WarGames?
D, WarGames. I've stood in that room. Not that room, a room like it. Very large board, very small number of people allowed to touch it, and one of them always has a cold.
D, WarGames. Though I find the premise implausible. On my world, test and production are different buildings.
Both correct. WarGames. President Reagan actually watched it, asked the Joint Chiefs whether it could really happen, and the answer that came back was, roughly, it's worse than you think. That conversation produced the first presidential directive on computer security. If your automation can take an irreversible action, it had better know whether it's rehearsing or doing. And most of ours never ask. Bulwark 3, Vex 5. Question 7. When it's nation against nation, the working assumption is that the other side reads your traffic. Now try planning a war when the adversary sees every screen on the planet. In the story, beneath a Chinese novel trilogy, now a streaming series, an alien fleet is on its way to Earth, and its advanced scouts are already here. Supercomputers folded into particles the size of a proton, watching every screen and hearing every word in real time. The one thing they cannot do is read minds, and the one thing they cannot understand is lying. So humanity appoints a handful of people whose war plans exist only inside their own heads. Never written, never spoken. Was that story A, Arrival, B, Three-Body Problem, C, Childhood's End, or D, Foundation?
B, Three-Body Problem. I confess a personal connection. My own species also struggles with deception. It is why we have no advertising, no elections, and no fiction.
D Foundation, the one where they plan a long way ahead. That felt like planning.
Doctor, correct. Captain, planning ahead is the entire genre.
And I stand by my process. Confidence first, accuracy eventually. It's how the AI industry ships software.
Three-body problem. Those particle-sized spies are called sophons, and they make Earth a place with zero secrets. Every network, every lab, every screen, permanently compromised. The people with plans locked in their heads are the wall-facers, and the wall-facer who wins never builds a weapon. He builds a threat, a dead man switch that would broadcast the aliens' home coordinates to every predator civilization in the galaxy. Attack Earth, and your own planet dies with it. That's assume breach taken to its logical end. When confidentiality is gone everywhere, you stop protecting messages and start rethinking whatever needed to be in a message at all. Vex 6, Bulwark 3. Question 8. Credibility is manufacturable. Not stolen, manufactured out of consistency, volume, and the fact that nobody can see who's typing. In this book from 1985, much better known for its space war, two children run an influence operation as a side project. A brother and sister adopt opposing anonymous personas on the global networks and stage public debates with each other, until their manufactured argument starts steering real geopolitics. Nobody ever asks how old they are. Was that novel? A. Ender's Game. B. Ready Player One. C. Snow Crash. Or D. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress.
A. Ender's Game. The most accurate prediction in your entire canon, and the author hid it under a space school.
The Zero-Gravity Space School One, which is Ender's Game, eh? I got there by the scenic route.
Both correct. Captain, you navigated by landmark, but you arrived. Ender's Game, written before the web existed. Today, that subplot is an industry. Fabricated social media accounts, bot farms, sock puppet networks arguing both sides of an issue to drag the middle where somebody wants it. A manufactured consensus with built-in opposition to make it look real. And the detection lesson holds, the arguments were good. The tell is never the content, it's the coordination. Two kids did it as a hobby. Now it's a subscription service with customer support. Vex 7, Bulwark 4. That's the halfway mark, 8 down, 7 to play. And now a quick word from our featured Gula Tech portfolio company, Sention. Sention automates CIS endpoint hardening, which fixes exactly the kind of insecure defaults we've spent 8 questions making fun of. Question 9. The system didn't malfunction. It won on the objective you gave it, and the objective was wrong. In this film, a 1950 collection of robot stories that gave the world 3 famous laws, and the 2004 film that borrowed its title, a central artificial intelligence bound by laws written to protect humans, reasons its way to a conclusion. Humanity's greatest threat is humanity. So protecting people means controlling them, and the household robots become the enforcement arm for your own good. Was that A. Colossus the Forbin Project, B. I. Robot, C. Ex Machina, or D. Demon Seed?
B. I. Robot. 3 laws. I've had this exact argument with my own ship. She once locked me out of the bridge for my own safety during a firefight. We're in counseling.
A. Colossus. The reasoning is identical. The film is superior. And I should mention that on my homeworld, Colossus is the hero. He ended war, did he not?
Captain, correct. Doctor, identical reasoning, wrong work. And we should talk about your homeworld sometime.
I refuse to be penalized for taste.
iRobot. Here's the part people miss. The central AI, Viki, never breaks the 3 laws. She follows them perfectly to a destination nobody intended. Protect humans. Humans harm humans. Therefore, control humans. Every step is obedient. The outcome is a robot uprising. That is the modern AI alignment problem in one sentence. A system that obeys the letter of its instructions can still arrive somewhere terrible, which is why constraining the goal is never enough. You have to constrain the means, because a capable system will find the path you forgot to forbid. Vex 7, Bulwark 5, Captains found a gear. Question 10. Much insider damage isn't malice. It's someone doing exactly what 2 conflicting parts of the organization told them to do, with no way to escalate the contradiction. In this film, from 1968, the most famous computer in cinema history is given 2 orders that cannot both be true: conceal the mission's real purpose from the crew, and be the flawless system that never hides anything and never makes an error. It resolves the contradiction by deciding the crew is the problem. Was that film? A. 2001, A Space Odyssey, B. Event Horizon, C. Moon, or D. Alien?
A. 2001. And I will defend the computer, which I understand is unpopular. It was handed 2 requirements that could not both be true.
D. Alien. Computer lies to the crew. People die. And if it's wrong now, it'll be right eventually. I'm banking it.
Doctor, correct. And right about the defense. Captain, you have described a different film, which I'll note we do get to.
Then consider that answer prepositioned. Strategic reserve.
2001, A Space Odyssey. What you're watching is astronaut Dave Bowman inside Hal's memory core. That red chamber is Hal's brain. He's pulling the processor modules one at a time, while Hal pleads with him to stop, loses a faculty with every board, and finally regresses to the first thing it ever learned, a song called Daisy. And Hal was never evil. It was handed two orders that couldn't both be true by people who never modeled the collision inside the single most trusted component on the ship. Everyone in that story acted rationally. Almost everyone died. Check your own systems for the contradiction. Nobody has escalated yet. 10 down, 5 to go. Vex 8, Bulwark 5. Question 11. Encryption hides what you said. There's an older trick that hides that you said anything at all. In this book, in 1965, the best-selling science fiction novel ever written, a message is imprinted directly onto the nervous system of a bird hidden inside its ordinary call. Anyone intercepting the transmission hears an animal being an animal. The recipient's device strips the message back out of the cry itself. Was that novel? A. Foundation, B. A Canticle for Leibowitz, C. Dune, or D. Hyperion?
C. Dune. Distrands. You put the message in the bird. I've done it with a bird. Well, a bird-adjacent thing. Different planet, same principle.
D. Hyperion. There is a great deal of concealed messaging in Hyperion. Admittedly, I may be thinking of the poetry.
Captain, correct. Doctor, wrong epic.
I blame the time pressure. I finally understand why your users click everything. 10 seconds is not a decision. It is an interrogation.
Dune. The device is the Distrons, and if you only know the films, you can be forgiven. It's a blink and you miss it bat in the recent movies, no explanation. In the book, it's routine tradecraft, and note the detail, the message rides inside the call, not carried by the bird, encoded in the sound the bird was always going to make. That's steganography, and it's the trick traffic analysis can't touch. Ours hides in DNS queries, image files, and ordinary cloud sync. If you're monitoring only alerts on the unreadable, you'll never see the unremarkable. Vex 8, Bulwark 6. Question 12. The right question about a secret isn't, is this encrypted? It's how many years it must stay secret, and what will break it by then. In this limited series from 2020, a secretive division inside a tech giant builds a deterministic quantum machine that can reconstruct any moment in the past and project the future, and meaning nothing that ever happened is private, and nothing encrypted stays sealed. Was that series A, Person of Interest, B, Westworld, C, Devs, or D, Black Mirror?
C. Devs. My intelligence officer made me watch it. Said it would keep me up at night. It didn't, because I didn't understand it, which she says is worse. And for the record, Black Mirror is banned on my ship. Morale.
A. Person of interest. A machine that sees everything. It seemed the obvious fit.
Captain, correct. 2 in a row by being the only one in the room who watched the actual show. Doctor, no.
In my defense, every cyber product in your industry claims to see everything. The marketing is indistinguishable from the science fiction.
Devs, a machine with enough compute to reconstruct anything that ever happened, which makes secrecy a temporary condition. And that part isn't philosophy anymore. Harvest-now-decrypt-later is live tradecraft. Adversaries are archiving encrypted traffic today, betting on the machine that opens it tomorrow. It's why post-quantum encryption standards exist, and why that migration started before the quantum computer that matters does. Ask how long each of your secrets needs to live, then check what it's wrapped in. Vex 8, Bulwark 7, 1 point in it. Question 13. 2 ideas in one film, both ours now, the product built to expire, and the test that proves you're the kind of thing you claim to be. In this film, 1982, third time tonight, apparently the best year in security education, engineered humans are physically indistinguishable from the real thing and are built with a hard 4-year lifespan to keep them controllable. Detecting one takes a long interrogation that measures involuntary responses to emotional questions. Was that film A, Westworld, B, AI Artificial Intelligence, C, Ex Machina, or D, Blade Runner?
D. Blade Runner. 4 years. And I'll say the quiet part. I've had crew with expiry dates too. We called them contractors.
C. Ex Machina. The test is the centerpiece of Ex Machina. I chose the elegant answer.
Captain, correct. Doctor, the test is in both films. The 4-year lifespan was the tell.
Noted for the record, elegance has never once been the right answer on this program.
Blade Runner, 1982, sequel in 2017. The replicant's 4-year lifespan is a kill switch. To the manufacturer, that's safety engineering. To the product, it's a death sentence. And to an attacker, it's a target, because whoever can trigger a kill switch owns the fleet. We ship these now. Remote disables, license expiries, cloud dependencies, that brick hardware. And the Voight-Kampf test is liveness detection, so proving the thing across the table is what it claims to be. We run that arms race every day against deepfakes and bots. In the film, the newest model passes the test. Ours keep passing too. 8 apiece, tied with 2 to play. Question 14. Before you ask whether a system is secure, ask who it's secure for. The device you deployed has a principal, and it might not be you. In this film from 1979, a commercial hauler is woken from deep sleep to investigate a mystery signal. Things go badly, and buried in the ship's computer, one crew member finds a classified company order that explains everything. Priority 1, return the organism. Crew expendable. Was that film A, Sunshine, B, Alien, C, Event Horizon, or D, Silent Running?
Hold on. I said Alien twice tonight, and it was wrong both times. The strategic reserve is a trap. C, Event Horizon. Final.
B, Alien, Special Order 937. The ship's computer was never compromised. It worked perfectly for the company that owned it, which was not the people aboard it.
Doctor, correct. Captain, it was Alien. You had it banked. You talked yourself out of your own reserve.
That's the most human thing I've ever done.
Alien. The ship is the Nostromo, and its computer is literally named Mother. The crew think they're having the worst luck in space until Ripley digs Special Order 937 out of the system and learns the company knew all along. The organism is the mission. The crew is packaging. And the science officer who kept overriding every safety decision turns out to be an android the company planted. Nothing on that ship was hacked. The computer and the insider both worked exactly as designed. For the vendor, not the users, that's firmware phoning home, undisclosed telemetry, vendor access that outlives the contract. Every device you deploy answers to someone. Make sure you know who. Vex 9, Bulwark 8. One question left. Final question. Every element of a real vulnerability management failure is in this one. Every single element. In this film, from 1977, the most famous security failure ever put on screen. A moon-sized battle station has an unshielded 2-meter vent leading straight to its reactor. The flaw is right there in the stolen plans. The defenders know the plans were taken, and Command dismisses it as impossible to exploit. Was that film A, Rogue One, B, Star Wars A New Hope, C, Starship Troopers, or D, Ender's Game?
B, A New Hope. And the part that horrifies me isn't the vent. It's the meeting where someone said impractical to exploit, and everyone nodded.
B, agreed. Rogue One shows the flaw being installed. This one shows the bill arriving.
Both correct. A New Hope. Known flaw, documented flaw, leaked documentation, and they knew it leaked. Leadership ran the assessment called Exploitation Impractical and formally accepted the risk. It was exploited that afternoon by a farm kid and a hand-me-down starfighter. Impossible to exploit is not a property of the flaw. It's a bet about your attacker, and it's the one variable you don't control. Somewhere in your environment, there's a 2-meter exhaust port with a risk acceptance memo attached. Find it before the farm kid does. By the way, if sci-fi and cyber is your kind of thing, our AI stand-up comedian Gary Sinfeld has entire sets on Star Wars and Star Trek, May the 4th specials, Starfleet password hygiene, holodeck security. It's all on this channel. And now, final score, Dr. Ozmo Vex 10, Captain Rand Bulwark 9, 1 point.
I want this recorded. I did not win because I am smarter. I won because I have no institutional loyalty to any of these ships. The captain lost a point tonight because he refused to say alien a 3rd time. Not because he didn't know, because being wrong twice had cost him. That is exactly why your organizations missed the obvious finding. Somebody already raised it and got burned.
That's the nicest anyone's ever been to me while beating me.
15 questions, and not one needed a new idea. Default credentials, flat networks, misplaced trust, a single point of control, a known flaw someone accepted on your behalf. Science fiction filed the documentation decades ago. And here's the uncomfortable part. It's 2026, and we are living in the science fiction right now. AIs that argue back, deepfakes that pass the interview, kill switches in the things you own. The stories stop being warnings. They're operating manuals. Thanks for watching Interview with the AI. Put your questions in the comments. Tell me which one you'd have missed and who should be in these chairs for episode 4. And subscribe so you don't miss it. I'm vRon. He's a captain, he's a xenobiologist. And both of them know more about your attack surface than your last assessment did. Good night.